What's up, everybody? You watch your own Nick Drive a podcast. Happy Monday, August 26, 2024. Hope you guys have had a blessed day today. Hope you guys' Monday has been good. Mine has been absolutely crazy. It's been bonkers. I'm glad my work day is over. RFK has dropped out of the presidential race and endorsed Donald Trump.
Yeah, boy.
So we're going to take a little bit of a look at his video here from yesterday, Sunday morning, and see what all he's got to say. Let's check it out. Guys, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the Nick Drive podcast here on YouTube. Let's get into today's video.
And joining us now is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Welcome to Fox News Sunday.
Shannon, thanks for having me.
Okay, so let's get this out of the way up front. You and President Trump not always fans of each other. He posted on social media earlier this year, he's one of the most liberal lunatics ever to run for office. A phony radical left fool whose poll numbers are terrible and getting worse. The New Yorker said just a couple of weeks ago this: in a recent text exchange, Kennedy told one person that Trump was a terrible human being, the worst president ever and barely human. He is probably a sociopath. Now, I haven't read your text, so you can speak to that. But how did you get from that position to Friday night?
Well, you know, it became clear to me that I did not have a path to victory. 16 months of censorship, of not being able to get on any network really except for Fox. And I had, in fact, when Ross Perot ran, in the 10 months that he ran, he had 34 appearances on the networks.
Yeah, I'll say this on behalf of him. He is right about this. CNN completely shut him down over the last 16 months. So has MSNBC. They're notorious for doing this to other candidates besides whoever is running for the Democrat ticket. And there was a lot of stuff that was censored that he was doing online too. So I just don't, that's just the world we live in now. So if you're not part of one of the two major parties, it really makes it very difficult to run and get your voice heard, even though he has a lot of supporters in the independent camps,
I had 2 appearances in 16 months. I was blocked out from the networks. I was blocked out from the debate. I had no path to victory. President Trump had been reaching out to me. And I talked to him a few hours after the assassination attempt, and we had a long conversation by phone. I then had 2 extensive meetings, and there were issues, the broad issues that were most important to me, the ones that brought me into the campaign, which was ending the Ukraine war,
right,
ending the censorship and protecting children's health. We're all reforming our food supply, all the things that we need to do to make our children healthy again. Those are all things that President Trump also wanted to work on. And
that's awesome to hear. When it comes to politics and these types of political games, being able to look at something and go, hey, nobody's going to agree with you all the time with everything. But these particular big topics for RFK are also important to former President Trump as well. So they found common ground. This is something a lot of people should be able to listen to and actually look at and go, hey, you don't have to agree with someone 100,000% on everything. Find the topics that you guys agree on, work towards a better world.
And he invited me to form a unity government. We agreed that we'd be able to continue to criticize each other on issues on which we don't agree. But these issues are so important in their way of unifying our country. We need in this country to reach a point where we love our children more than we hate each other.
It's a good unifying theme that I think a lot of people could get around. It's how we get there. That's always the devil is in the details. Have you all negotiated over or talked about a cabinet position, another position within a Trump government in exchange for your endorsement?
No, there's been no commitments. But I met with President Trump, with his family, with his closer advisors, and we just made a general commitment that we were going to work together.
What about the states where you're trying to get off of a number of swing state ballots to say, I'm going to stay on a number of state ballots, but in these swing states, I'm going to try to withdraw myself and ask my supporters, or at least you're telling them, think about supporting President Trump. Did you negotiate over which states you would try to withdraw from?
Yeah, I mean, we all knew which states they were. There basically is 10 swing states where my presence in the race would have helped Vice President Harris and would have harmed President Trump. So I'm going to get off the ballot in those states, and then we're going to stay on the ballot in 30 states. And, you know, I'm encouraging people to vote for me in those states.
RFK is a pretty moderate Democrat, which there's not a lot of moderate Democrats anymore. It just feels like a lot of the left is going completely to the progressive side. It is nice to see someone like RFK, who also has a great, you know, a good sized independent base, and also has a lot of libertarian voters that, like him, endorse Donald Trump in order for him to maybe try to move forward in some of these things that he actually wants to help make America better at, such as the quality of food that our kids are eating, looking at things such as not having these vaccine mandates. He's not anti-vax. I don't think he is anti-vax. I'm sure some people feel like that, but he's kind of like, you get them if you want them. You shouldn't push people and make people get vaccines like how the Biden administration handled the C-19 pandemic. So
those are states with the votes, they're either all red or all blue states where their votes are not going to change the outcome of the race. But in the states where I would have been a spoiler, I'm going to get out. So it's about 10 states.
Okay, so there were reports a couple weeks ago citing an official from your camp and also a Democratic official saying that there'd been outreach to the Harris camp as well to possibly discuss you working within the Harris administration in exchange for an endorsement of her. Is that true? And what happened with that?
I reached out to them on the same basis that I reached out to President Trump, but we actually talked to other presidential candidates, including Chase Oliver and the Libertarian Party, about figuring out ways that we could end the polarization and the hatred and the vitriol, start talking about issues.
That's great, man.
You know, I was welcome to listen to anything from the Democrats that they were going to do something about the war, about the Ukraine war, about the censorship, about the child health crisis, this epidemic of chronic disease that has now disabled about 60% of our kids.
Wow.
And, you know, when my uncle was President Shannon, only 6% of Americans had chronic disease. Today, over 60% do. And, you know, it's hard to find a kid today that's not been damaged by it. And it's coming from our food supply, from pollution in our environment, from toxics in our environment, and mainly from corruption in our government that allows that to happen.
You've talked about, or there's been discussion that if you were to join the Trump administration in some health-related position, that you have real interest in dismantling things like the FDA, the CDC, NIH. You would like to see a focus away from infectious diseases to what you're talking about, more chronic diseases. Is it fair to say that you would try to dismantle some of those organizations?
No, I wouldn't dismantle them. I would change the focus and I would end the corruption.
Yeah, see, I don't understand why every time somebody wants to make a difference, like what he's saying sounds pretty great. It's almost like the people that don't like this person politically, they automatically go to, oh, do you want to dismantle the? And he's clearly like, no, we're trying to change the focus. So we have more people dying of chronic illness than we do of C-19. There's more people dying of chronic illness. The guy's right. This dismantling thing, I don't understand it, man. It's so freaking annoying.
Right now, 75% of FDA's budget is coming from pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
That is a perverse incentive.
Right.
In NIH, scientists and officials in NIH who work on drug development, who incubate drugs for the pharmaceutical company, get to collect lifetime royalties from those products. These are regulators. They're supposed to be looking for problems in that.
Right. When you're regulatory, you're there to regulate. You're not there to take money from big pharma So I don't get it, man.
Products.
It's just
We
corruption,
have
man.
these agencies that have become sock puppets for the industries they're supposed to regulate.
Right.
So they're not really interested in public health. Everybody, the most profitable thing today in America is a sick child. Everybody is making money. The hospitals are making money. The pharmaceutical companies are making money. Even the insurance companies make money. And we need to end those perverse incentives. We need to get the corruption out of FDA, out of NIH, out of the CDC, and make them function as they're supposed to function,
Right.
which is to protect public health and particularly children's health.
I'm going to go back to your decision from Friday. Both
That's
you
awesome.
and Nicole Shanahan, your running mate, have talked about how you feel like the Democrats completely mistreated you, excluded you from the process. How much of your decision Friday is about revenge or motivated by punishing Democrats in some way?
Zero.
I believe that.
Really, I don't act in anything in my life. I don't act out of anger or revenge or resentment. It's a bad motivation. It's like swallowing poison and hoping someone else will die. And so I don't do.
That's a very Buddhist thing of him to say right there. That's a very Buddhist thing of him to say right there. That's interesting, man. We ought to look in to see what RFK is spiritually.
But I am very pragmatic and practical, and I am focused on one thing, which is how do we restore health for our children? And that touches many, many other issues. How do we regenerate our soils in this country? How do we protect small family farmers? The incentives are all going to commodity agriculture, and that's what is feeding this chronic disease epidemic, the processed foods that are created by commodity agriculture. So we need to do all of these things at once. Protect small farmers, restore our soils, regenerative agriculture, and to get the corruption out of the federal government and make these agencies do what they were created to do, which is to protect our health and not serve the mercantile interests of the pharmaceutical companies and the processed food industry.
This decision is not without personal cost for you. Your own family went to the White House on St. Patrick's Day, took a huge picture with President Biden, made clear who they were supporting. Friday night, your siblings issued this statement. We believe in Harrison Waltz. Our brother Bobby's decision to endorse Trump today is a betrayal of the values our father and our family hold most dear. You posted on X Friday night saying you're grateful to your amazing wife because the decision that you've made is one that she's uncomfortable with. So talk to us about the personal backlash you have to deal with and moving forward.
I don't understand why. I don't understand how he clearly is a guy who is trying to get these things such as health for public health. He's trying to push this through. Depending on which campaign he's trying to talk to both of them so he can actually increase the public health awareness of chronic diseases for young kids, just the public in general. A lot of his big ideas here, it should be things that aren't one or the other side. It should be things that both sides would be like, okay, look into this stuff. So his family going on here and issuing some kind of statement that they don't like what he said and all this stuff. Well, you know what? Who cares what they think, man? Because at the end of the day, RFK is his own person. I don't understand why people do stuff like this. Like his family goes and takes a picture with Joe Biden. I wonder if Joe Biden smelled his little grandchildren. I don't know. It makes me wonder. But at the end of the day, it's good to see RFK endorsing Donald Trump here. I think it's going to be a very, 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 I think that's going to be a pretty cool team up if Trump ends up winning. If I was running for president and I won, I'd make RFK the head of the CIA, man. Guys, have a great day. Take care. Be safe. You watch your own air with Nick Java. The Nick Java podcast. Please like, comment, subscribe. Take care.